By the round of sophomore year of high school, I decided to dabble into this and kind of start painting on the side, like on the weekends or wherever I didn't have school. It started off as me painting on the side and kind of getting a couple side gigs going. And then from there, it kind of, people started asking me like mow their lawn, and I was like, yeah, I think I could do that. I mean, I'm not really that interested in it, but I think I could do it. Before you know it, it became like a lawn service meets painting company, growing this thing from a painting to a landscape to kind of more into property maintenance management. So I started branching out into carpentry, drywall. I would hire plumbing companies to come in and be subcontractors for me. And I would actually just start maintaining entire properties from like lawns to all the way down to like their annual routine plumbing and electrical needs and everything like that. Hi, my name is Tom Iwema, founder and CEO of IKG Property Maintenance. IKG is a full-service painting and environmental contracting company. Essentially, we are your residential, commercial, and light industrial painting, interior and exterior contractor, as well as your certified lead, mold, and asbestos abatement provider in all of Chicagoland.
This talk I'm having with you right now is pretty unique because most of the businesses that I do videos with have something to do with being deep in tech, but you're running this traditional service business at a really young age. With all this kind of tech innovation stuff going on, what drew you to getting this off the ground?
Yeah, so actually my background, my father was a painter. So early on I was kind of introduced to the painting trades and kind of interior finishing with construction. By the round of sophomore year of high school, I decided to dabble into this and kind of start painting on the side, like on the weekends or wherever I didn't have school. And I just started taking off from a side business to a full-on fledged painting business.
What things did you do to get that initial traction? How did you take it from a painting business to all of the other services that you do?
It started off as me painting on the side and kind of getting a couple side gigs going. And then from there, it kind of, people started asking me like mow their lawn, and I was like, yeah, I think I could do that. I mean, I'm not really that interested in it, but I think I could do it. So I started branching out into carpentry, drywall. I would hire plumbing companies to come in and be subcontractors for me. And I would actually just start maintaining entire properties from like lawns to all the way down to like their annual routine plumbing and electrical needs and everything like that.
What would your kind of system look like for getting IKG out to do the jobs that you get? So when a job comes in, someone says, oh, I want you to do an attic job. Are you on site personally most of the time? If not, how do you communicate with people that you work with or your team to?
Yeah, so it's funny that you mentioned like, yeah, I'm not one of these traditional kind of tech companies, which seems to get a lot of focus these days, but I use a lot of technology integrated into my daily operations.
Yeah.
So for instance, we pull all our leads through the internet, our website, we buy leads through third-party platforms, and essentially the people will call me, they'll set up the free quote, I'll put them into our system, I'll personally drive out and look at the quote.
O'clock at night, did 5 quotes today, and then visited 2 job sites, and then did a couple hours paperwork. Basically, that's been my day so far.
We'll do everything electronically. It gets sent through email. If the customer decides to hire IKG, they'll sign right there on their smart device, submit it back to us. We put that in our scheduling software. And then from there, I'll have either myself or one of my employees or subcontracting partners come and perform the task. From there, we invoice it out electronically, and the customer pays through electronic check or credit card, and everything's handled electronically. Essentially, the business can run itself through my integration of technology.
What are some challenges that you faced as not only just a traditional business, but as a business in general, and how have you kind of coped with those difficulties?
Yeah, I'd definitely say some of the challenges for any new business, but particularly mine, is just kind of penetrating the market for home services or commercial services when it comes to facility maintenance. There's just, I mean, you Google it, there's just, hundreds, thousands.
Right, exactly.
I mean, painters are pretty much a dime a dozen, and it's all kind of just being smart with your very tight budget. Kind of just knowing how to use the internet and technology to kind of work for you.
Something you talk about on the website is the IKG difference.
Right.
This idea of you guys having your specific quality that you come with when you work on somebody's property. What do you try to do to constantly differentiate yourself?
Yeah, so basically the IKG difference is that our emphasis on quality and superior standards in order to achieve that quality. So a lot of home services or commercial painting contractors, any kind of contractor, they usually come in, do the work, get out as fast as they can, invoice, get paid, move on to the next one, right? IKG, the difference is we want to get to know our customers, we want to have that relationship, and then we want to move in, do the most high quality job, perform tasks down to a T, a checklist of, did we perform this, did we do this? For instance, like we've worked with the Brookfield Zoo, we're around animals and stuff like that, where they're highly particular about when it comes to their policies and that we have to follow them as contractors. We're not here to make a quick buck, we want to make money, but we're here to ultimately serve people, and we want to have them experience the difference of having a quality service. Right? We actually want to exceed their expectations. I mean, you might contract us to paint a stairwell in your commercial facility, but we want you to come in and be like, wow, this is a lot more than what I expected, down to the fine details.
How did you try to develop the IKG difference? So when you were at those early stages and maybe it felt harder to kind of penetrate this super crowded market, what did you do to say, okay, we're going to make it different?
I just did a lot of research and asked people, customer interviews, the customer discovery phase, and kind of just figure out what do people want, what do they want from a service. The emphasis on customer service and the innovation of how quick we can perform a task, but yet doing so in a way that ultimately has that quality.
So I've seen some of your website and your Facebook page and your Twitter. How do you use social media to promote IKG and build a face of the brand?
Yeah, I think it just comes down to understanding how to use those platforms. For instance, I'm not the best at Twitter or like all these other Snapchat and Instagram and all those newer platforms myself. So the best part about being a college senior is that this is what everyone's kind of doing around me. Reach out to them and have them help me kind of build my brand on these platforms. And what college kid doesn't want a little extra side money, as well as they can use that for their resume. And I think it's a win-win for everybody. So I do utilize these platforms, but I get a lot of help doing so. And we're always kind of researching the top trends and new algorithm changes on these sites to help us pull in leads and kind of build that following on these platforms.
I found out about you and IKG through Future Founders. How did you find out about Future Founders and develop that relationship with them? And then what have they kind of helped you with?
A little over 3.5 years ago, when I was a freshman here, a professor of ours reached out and said, hey, a person I know from grad school has just been hired on at this organization called Future Founders. She's looking to get college entrepreneurs more involved in the startup scene in Chicago, and my fellow friend of mine who was also in the startup scene here on campus, him and I applied to be part of their new program, which is now called the Fellowship. And we applied and got in, and we were in like a year-long program that helped advance our businesses and develop better business skills and get to network with people in Chicago and specifically downtown at 1871.
What kind of stuff have you done at 1871 with them, for example?
A lot, obviously down there, a lot of people are in the tech scene, but they might have other people that are not that they know of, and they kind of introduced me, such as real estate developers. So naturally, as a property maintenance manager at the time, I was inclined to pursue that relationship, and they introduced me to a bunch of people who own real estate, and I began working on their properties and kind of helping them with any tasks they needed. So I think 1871 is phenomenal when they help people just build relationships and foster their startup.
What short or long-term goals do you have for IKG right now, and how do you see yourself getting there from where you're at today?
Yeah, I mean, short term, it's kind of just continuing developing our processes and lead to job completion, invoice completion, getting that entire process just perfected. Obviously, that's something we're still working on. That's more of a short-term goal. I'd like to get that down in a couple months, definitely before the end of the summer of 2018. The long-term strategy is just keep building upon our focusing on customer service, innovation, and that quality and the IKG difference, and building upon that to see the company grow.
Because Hustle Gurus is all about connecting and adding value to other people's work, and maybe I should mention now that you're in the south suburbs, so if anybody's watching this, it's more convenient to come to you. They're also in the south suburbs. If someone watching this wants to reach out, are you looking for any specific talent right now to grow the team, and where can they reach out?
Yeah, for sure. I would love to hopefully hear from prospective people that are looking to get into more of the operations side. Hopefully once I graduate here in a couple months, I will look into having a part-time, which is eventually a full-time position of basically helping me out with operations. And then freelancers, always welcome. I definitely need more help with like web development, that whole social media integration, brand building, marketing, always need help on that, advance in these areas, I would love to work with and help in any way I can.
Thanks, Tom.
Yep. Not a problem.
But if you don't already know, Hustle Guru connects young entrepreneurs with a lot of talent with growing businesses in their city, in their area. The young and talented have new work opportunities. Early morning social. We got Jay with the Facebook page, website edits, Medium edits, early morning meetings.
Check it out.
With the man Austin, founder of Bonfire, finishing up the video. It's in the works. When's Bonfire gonna come out?
Today, man. Today's the day.
Today? Say less.
Check out the app, bonfire.me.
The reason it's so important to run around and film the people I interview like Tom is so that you can see firsthand what the work behind the business looks like and then make that better informed decision of, oh, is this something I want to contribute to? So my advice is that if you're creating a piece of content and it's starting to come out more and more based on that external validation you're getting, rather than if you feel like it's really working out, take a step back and maybe sacrifice a chunk of your normal audience.